So if you're like most humans, you probably have something that you'd like to change, something you'd like to get rid of, or something that you'd like to create. In other words, you'd like to get from point A to point B. So most of the time what people do is, they go read this, they go read that, they do this training, they do this seminar, they listen to this guru, they read this book, they read that, acquire all of this information, all these different techniques and strategies, and then at the end of the day, it's common we might just feel like, okay, well now what do I do? I've gone to seminars before, I've gone to workshops before, I've read books, and I read all this stuff and it's like, it sounds so good, I'm so excited, I'm so inspired. And then I'm like, well, wait, what do I do? What do I do now? What am I supposed to do? I don't know. I feel all this information, I feel inspired, but I don't really know what to do. So to really just break it down and make it so kind of hilariously simple and obvious, we can understand that if we want to get from point A to point B, there's really only one way that that's going to happen, and that is movement. If we want to get from over here to over there, we're going to have to move in order to get there. So now let's understand a little bit more in context what that means. We can understand that really what health is about is really about movement and free flow, or comfort and ease is about movement and free flow. And when we feel discomfort, we feel a lack of ease, we feel stuck, that's really about dis-ease or lack of ease or the absence of ease and comfort. And you hear that language a lot, so people will just say, I feel so stuck, I don't know what to do. I just read all this stuff and this person says I should do this and this person says I shouldn't do that, but I should do this only in these circumstances, but only that under these circumstances. We acquire all of this head knowledge, but we still feel stuck. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means something is not moving. It means there's stagnation, it means there's fixation, it means there's a blockage, which means there's a real lack of ease. So, okay, we understand these two definitions and these sort of complementary aspects. Well, if we want to get from point A to point B, we're going to need movement. Okay, well, how does that play out and how can we really create that? Well, we can look at, say, our emotional level, we can look at, say, psychological or mental, we'll look at our physical level, and even look at, say, our more spiritual level. So we can look at these different levels, and we can take out a piece of paper and write a division or a column for each. And then we can look at each column and just say, well, where do I feel stuck? Where do I feel sort of blocked? Emotionally, where do I feel blocked? Physically, mentally, psychologically, spiritually. You just sort of write out, okay, well, I feel blocked here, I feel stress there, I feel stagnation here. Boom, we're dialed in on that. That's usually going to be relatively easy. Then we can look at that and say, well, how can I create movement in these different areas? How can I take this blockage and stagnation and get it moving and free flowing again? And we can get to that point, we can look at that and we can ask, okay, well, what can I eliminate? What can I replace? And what can I upgrade in each of these different sort of categories? So maybe we don't really exercise enough, or maybe we exercise too much and we burn ourselves and we stress ourselves out. Say, okay, well, maybe I can, maybe I'll just start exercising maybe 10, 15 minutes every day. Just a little something to just get me moving, get me going in that direction. Maybe we say, oh, well, emotionally I have this emotion, or I'm mad, or I'm sad. Well, maybe we can look at that and say, well, what can I do to get movement there? How can I, sort of deal with these emotions and process these things and sort of get it moving and move on? Same thing in mentally and psychologically and even spiritually, which really is such a simple way to take all of this sort of information and maybe this strategy and that strategy, all of this confusion that really exists and is so predominant and pervasive in the world today, and just bring it back to something that's really simple, really basic. Because really at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Movement and free flow, or blockage, stagnation, fixation. And again, these aren't oppositional, they're more so complementary, because sometimes we get stuck on something and we can say, oh, well, I need to put some attention on here, I need to deal with this. Boom, we deal with it, we move on. So hopefully that's been helpful. It's almost hilariously simple, but for that reason, people forget. For that reason, people just want to do all of this sort of convoluted or really complex stuff because, oh, I'm trying hard. I'm really working hard. I must be doing something good. Like, well, I mean, if that's what you have to do, or that's what you feel like you have to do, you know, there are other ways. You know, you can create things and create movement patterns without stress and without tension and anxiety, so maybe try those on. Anyways, side tangent. So hopefully that's been helpful, and I will talk to you soon.